So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall 2 steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. This is going to be stellar. I kid you not. We don't have just one guest, not two. No. We have 5 guests, and they are all experts in the field of live video streaming. I am going to dig deep, pick their beautiful brains, and they're going to give you the secrets that make them so successful in this unbelievable technology that many people are now coming to due to recent events. We all know what that means. The Mind, Body, Business Show. What is that all about? It is about the 3 pillars to success. In my now 56 years on this earth, I spent the last 10 or so actually studying only successful people. What made them more successful than someone like me? What were the qualities? They are just a human being. And during these 10 years or so of being with mentors, of actually meeting authors, reading books of other authors that may not be with us, going to seminars of prominent and successful entrepreneurs, I found there were 3 patterns that developed, and you might guess where those 3 patterns might lie. Yes, in mind. That's mindset. Those that have achieved a great level of success had really worked on and developed a very positive and flexible mindset. And then body. It's all about taking care of yourself, literally your physical body. That's eating right and exercising on a regular basis. And then there's business. And business is multifaceted. It includes things like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. And I could go on for a very long time with different skill sets. And what happens is all of these successful people I studied had mastered these skill sets. Here's the trick. Here's the secret. They don't master every single one of them. If they master just one, then they can delegate to others who have mastered the skill sets they don't currently possess. And that is the skill set of leadership. And I'm not going to go too deep into this. We're going to jump right into our wonderful panel. They're all sitting, standing, waiting, clapping, cheering, and they can't wait to come on. And I can't wait for you to meet them all. So with that, why don't we just do that and bring them all on? Go ahead, unmute yourself, my wonderful peeps. Here we go. There they are. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing live streaming video expert panel. Oh, yes. How are you all doing tonight?
Really good.
Excellent. All right. I am going to quickly introduce each one of you, and hopefully I do you justice, but it's going to be what you gave me, so it has to do you justice, right? So Jason Nast, he is one of my best friends in the world. He is the co-founder of the Big Insider Secrets. He spent over 35 years in marketing, working with top agencies, products, and brands, generating over $1 billion with a B dollars in revenue for my big brand clients, his big brand clients. This was a last minute bio submittal, and over 170, I don't know if that's million, I think it is, in actual sales, there's a lot of zeros, revenue to non-big brand companies. So that's pretty impressive. His specialty has been in direct response marketing. That means TV commercials, where he is a Clio Award winner. As Seen on TV, you've all heard of that. 2-time marketer of the year in that. Radio, print, billboard, email, texting, and more. I'm getting tired. Offline or online, there are secrets the big insiders don't want you to know. The who, what, where, why, and when of marketing, and most importantly, the how. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason Nast, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you.
So great to have you. Next, the lovely Janine Suvac. Oh, yes. We've known each other for a long time, at least, 10 minutes now. It's been phenomenal. She is a former U.S. flight surgeon. This is phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. And combat veteran. She is Dr. Janine Suvak, and she is an author, consultant, recognized expert in leadership. Ooh, we just talked about that. And peak performance. Hey, I love that name. It's part of my business. In high stress environments, I can only imagine. An in-demand expert for military aviation accident investigations. Wow. Janine now uses her problem-solving experience with systems and human factors in organizations to help businesses succeed. With that, welcome to the show, Janine Suvak.
Yay, so happy to be here. Thanks, Brian.
You are all amazing. By the way, this was a last-minute collection of these fine individuals. We had a last-minute cancellation of a certain guest. They had a family emergency. This stuff happens. And so I'm really thankful and appreciative to all of you, all 5 of you, for coming on at such short notice. I'll get it out. By the way, Janine hails from around the Houston, Texas area. Jason is in the Arizona area. Leo is from the UK. I'm going to introduce him next, which is in London. And Pepe is currently in Orlando, Florida. He's from Brazil. And then Rosana Ro Catalano is from Tallahassee, Florida. We've got them from all over the place. I love this. This is phenomenal. Leo, the man, Leo Mendel, has been involved in the world of online sports and streaming. This is very interesting to me. Since the late 1990s, a survivor of the .com bubble. Ooh, that was a tough one. The first live event he streamed was a professional soccer match for a top European tournament in 2001. 2001, ladies and gentlemen. He then built a successful agency helping Olympic federations deliver online. He has now pivoted to delivering online streaming for religion and politics. 2 things not very easy to mix. I love that. Welcome to the show, Leo Mendel. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
It is, what is it, 1:37 in the morning where you are right now?
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
He
was wide awake.
He wins the prize.
I was.
Yeah, we got to get some of that tea you're drinking, man. That's got to be some good stuff.
It's
All
coffee.
right.
It's coffee all the way.
Yeah, I don't think I could survive on
No.
tea. The caffeine just isn't enough. All right, on to Pepe Figueroa. He is a DJ, music producer, photographer, videographer, video editor, video engineer, and nowadays specialist in live broadcasts. There's a lot more to him, but that's all I got. And
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's it.
we'll dig in, and you can tell by his background he may do this, more than once or twice in a good month or so. Yeah, he might do it on occasion.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. You got it all. The sound dampening materials, the different colors. It's gorgeous. A gorgeous setting. I love it. You're all gorgeous. You're all phenomenal. And then we have Ro. That's what she likes. Rosana Catalano. I love that last name. It just rolls off the tongue. Catalano. I could say it all night.
Thank
I
you.
might just do it. Catalano.
Catalano.
Rosana Catalano's varied background as a lobbyist, trial attorney, television news producer, professor, university dean, career coach, and chief agency administrator allows her to provide her clients with a unique perspective and skill set for solving problems, storytelling, and creating successful strategies. This is a powerhouse lineup, ladies and gentlemen, that I have on this wonderful show. I love what I get to do. And yes, Jason's the biggest powerhouse. He's raising his hand because
I have a question. I actually have a statement, and that is, you were able to pull this together at the last minute, Brian, but that really says a lot about you as our host, because you have these connections, you have these most amazing people in your life, and you bring these amazing people together so wonderfully. And so if I can take half a second and just tell everybody that Brian Kelly, yes, he's a dear friend of mine. We've worked together. We've done lots of little projects together, but this guy is truly a powerhouse. So if you don't know him, you're watching this live stream, get to know him. He's the most approachable guy I know, and he does everything in his power to help you take your business to the next level. So make sure to subscribe to and comment and share. So,
okay,
I'm
please
done.
stop. Please stop.
No more.
That's a good friend right there.
Very good. Very good.
One of my best, I'll tell you, definitely. Dominic Brighton is in the house. He was on the show a little while ago. And there's a guy that you guys may know. There's a guy named Leo Mendel that commented, looking forward to the discussion. It's an amazing young man out of the UK area. I love that guy. We go way back.
I like the young. You can keep using that.
Yeah.
Don't feel it anymore.
I love it. So I want to dive deep with all of you, and I want to find out from each of you your opinions on what is working today and why when it comes to live streaming. As you all know, due to recent events, we're all locked down, so to speak, and people are flocking to the live video scene now. And you all seen it, all the comments, people that are new, they don't know how to do this in a proper way because it takes more than it looks like it takes on the surface. And we're all nodding our heads going, well, yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's difficult. So I want to go around the horn. And real quick, I'll just start with the same order we went with Jason. When did you really start live streaming? It doesn't mean you have to have gone and started in 1901 like Leo and then done it every year since. I said that on purpose, 1901. And but when did you start? When did you first go start doing live streaming, and then why? And that's first question to Jason, and then you'll all get the same question.
So I've been a beta tester for Google and Microsoft for years. And when Google first came out with the Hangouts Live, that's when I started doing live Hangouts. And then associate of mine, Alex Mandozian, he's like the Hangout live guru guy. I actually went to a live training, which he charged, I think it was $2,000 for the training in-house, or $1,000 if you wanted to stream it live. And I watched him actually drop this thing live. It was incredible. And I was like, this is something I need to incorporate into what I'm doing. So that's really when I started doing a lot more lives after that.
Fantastic. Thank you, kind sir. On to the next in a moment as I switch things around. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. This is different for me. Not everybody's name is Jason Nass, so we'll make sure we get that cleared up.
There you go.
But it's not so bad if it were, it'd be all right. Janine, same question. When did you start live streaming and what brought you to it? Why did you start doing that?
Well, I just started live streaming this year, actually. But because I generally work behind the scenes helping people with their systems, I have helped my clients with live streaming for quite some time. And it seems kind of silly that I would help them and not do it myself. So there I went.
Fantastic. And that's what I love. We're going to have a good mix of, grizzled veterans, like the next one I'm about to bring up, and those that are just starting, but all have great entrepreneurial and acumen and background and experience, and all bring a lot to the table. All right, Leo, up to you. When did you start live streaming? You kind of gave a hint. And what got you to start to do that? Why did you?
As I mentioned earlier, I work, or you mentioned that I work in the professional sports industry. So I work for a number of clubs, governing bodies, and federations doing their websites. And from there, we ended up doing some live events using things like Real Player, Windows Media Encoder, all these sort of things, which have long since gone into the distance. The first live event, as you mentioned, which was Celtic in the UEFA Cup, we had. We claimed we had over 10,000 people. I can't see how any of them on a 56K dial-up could have seen anything, but that was what we did. And from there, it's just moved on and on and on. I've been a big user of things like various different software packages that you end up encoding on Wirecast and all these things. But for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing more and more on a regular basis in the religious area. I work for a number of synagogues, and I've worked for some churches as well, bringing their stuff online. And then, as with everybody else, the beginning of the lockdown, it just went into overdrive. And now I'm doing about 4 or 5 events a week, mainly producing for people and doing all the work that you're doing, Brian, behind the scenes. And if those of us who use the buttons behind know that we can make it look smooth, but you're sitting there going all of this at the same time. Yes.
It's, you got to be the talent, the director, the producer, the marketer, the, the graphics designer. If you go that far,
I have the access to more Facebook pages than I've ever known I'd ever have access to.
Yeah, Brian's other wife is craft services, though. She takes care of that.
All right.
We need to up that limit to the live streams that we have currently from 8 to like 28 or 30, right?
Yeah.
All right, Pepe, same to you. how long ago did you start live streaming, and what was the driving factor behind you deciding to go down this wonderful path that we're all on?
Oh, well, I started live streaming. Well, I did it first like radio, like web radios. So I started doing that because at that time in Brazil, we don't have like the bandwidth, the internet that good. But I started doing video, like really live streaming with Tweet. I think it was TweetPic or TweetCam. Was a kind of a software that you're like a little app that you can go live on with Twitter account, something like that. And then I started doing just because I want to promote myself, my company at that time in Brazil. So that's why I started. And then I went to Google Hangout. I went to all these softwares, different softwares doing a live streaming.
Fantastic. So how long, what year, if you would remember, did all
I
that?
started like 2007. My YouTube channel, I started in 2007. So I think I started like 2006, 2008, something like that.
Sweet. You know what, Jason, I forgot to mention, and I'm going to mention it right now because Rosanna, we're saving like the big reveal for last right here. But this
Do I know it?
this show is actually sponsored by this gentleman to my left and his company, The Big Insider Secrets. Look at his hat. He's got the Big Insider right there. And what he has enabled us to do is to give away a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort because his company has sponsored us. And so stay to the end. Those of you who are watching live, this is for the live viewers only. Yes, that's right. What you stay on live to the end, I will show you exactly how you can enter to win. We get to give away one of these every single week on our show because of this man right here. And so stay tuned. And yes, you will be free to move about the country and hopefully the world, hopefully very, very soon. So you definitely want to stick around for that one. So thank you.
We've just added a bunch of U.S. destinations as well. So it's not 5-night though; it's only 3 in the U.S. But there's a ton of them. So yeah, we'll make sure that all the U.S. is available for you as well.
All right, now that we have built up the big moment, Catalano. When did you start streaming, Rosanna? And again, what drove you to do that?
So I'm one of your newcomers to live streaming. I started actually during the pandemic, but I am not new to storytelling. I have a background in television news and was a television news producer. And as an attorney and a trial attorney and lobbyist, I have been putting stories together for clients for nearly more than 2 decades now. So I'm not new to storytelling, which I think there's a huge element of that when you're producing shows. So we started with my company doing the live streaming during the pandemic as something that we needed to make sure that we were still in the hearts and minds of folks. And from there, we've been approached by many people. And now we have multiple clients and do this 4 or 5 times a week for a number of clients. So it's been wonderful.
Fantastic. Told you she was worth the wait. All-star crew right here. Oh my gosh. I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. This is so fun because of you guys. You are amazing, and gals. I mean that collectively. So I can tell there's several of you that live streaming has had an impact on your businesses. And I'm going to open this up to whoever wants to speak first, but let's raise hands so we don't stamp on each other audibly. But what ways has live streaming helped your business? What has it done for your business to help it go to the next level, whatever it is for you? So who wants to go first? Rosanna, yes.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first since I was last time. I'm happy to go first.
There you go.
This time. So, you know, this was a pivot for us. We have been, to some extent, I should say, we had been doing some consulting with businesses and helping them get to the next level, whether that was in the legal sense or leveraging government resources to help their businesses. And this was a way, by using the live streaming, to help people grow their business and also have that real internet presence that everyone wanted. And quite frankly, everyone was looking for a way to connect. You can't take that away from us. We're still all very humans, even though we've all been isolated and alone. That need for connection was something that people wanted, and we immediately jumped in headfirst. And so our company has taken a little bit of a pivot here with this, but I think we're going to keep going with this. You know, we're now being asked to do virtual conferences, so we're in it to win it now.
I love it. I love it. I love a big success story or even small success stories. I don't mind. Jason Nast, you're up.
So I actually have two things. One is obviously the way it helps your business is bringing exposure. It's a definite increase in ROI. Even if you're not like selling or doing anything on your live stream, it's just the recognition that you get from doing the live streams that it actually benefits your business at the bottom line. But I've got the other side of that as well. It's also hindered businesses. And I'll tell you how that's hindered my business. We were just getting ready to launch this big membership site, spent a year working on it, building it out. And when COVID hit, everybody and their brother started doing live streams. And I'm not talking about quality live streams like we're talking about here, but I'm talking about people walking down the street with their dog trying to say, yo, look, I'm getting out for a minute. And it flooded Facebook, YouTube, all these things with these live streams that were kind of meaningless. I hate to say it that way, but they really weren't talking about anything. They weren't talking about substance. They were just sharing their daily habits and their food or whatever. And because of that, it just seemed to really water down the market for the first month and a half. After that, things kind of feathered out and fluff worked its way out of the system. And now it's a time where really live streaming is really starting to come back up for the professionals or people who take it seriously. So it was an interesting big boom. And then also at the same time where it kind of hurt a lot of the regular streamers as far as business goes.
Big boom and a big burst. Who is next? I know we've got a couple more in here that have had a significant.
Well, I can go. Well, I was working for a big company here in Orlando that rent a lot of equipment, and I was doing a lot of AV, so a lot of shows and things like that. So in the end, I was furloughed, and I was, I love what I do. I love to be with video, with cameras and all of that. I'm going to continue doing my YouTube channel, but, I need to start doing some money. And then I start teaching people how to go live and sharing my knowledge, how you can have a good camera, a good microphone, and how you hook up everything, a good lighting and all of that. Because a lot of people are doing Zoom, Go Meeting, all these softwares, and software starting to get bigger and better. We have StreamYard, we have a lot of things right now. So we have OBS, we have Wirecast, we have vMix. So it's a lot of things that people need to look for and say, hey, what I'm going to use, which camera, which microphone, which software I'm going to use. And even, you need to know, what do you want? You're just going to use it for a Zoom meeting? You're going to teach something? You want to have a background with a green screen, or you want to have, a PowerPoint? So you have a lot of things that you need to really know. And I'm just helping people doing that right now. So this is a really challenging time. At the same time, it's really good to see that, we can continue making money.
Fantastic. We got a couple comments rolling in. This one is giving me a little chuckle. Fizz, you know him, Jason.
Hey,
We can actually recognize each other if we had met each other before. So
I want to talk real quick. Can I have that?
And then we have a shout out for one individual on this broadcast.
Hey, Rosanna.
Joy is saying Rosanna is a rock star. She also has a fantastic podcast in Floridaville. Thank you for coming on, Joy. Appreciate you for participating. And Leo, you had your hand up a moment ago. I think I'd
take it from where the others have said. It's been a really interesting roller coaster of what's happened with the lockdown when it started over here. Very, very, very similar. People didn't know how to go online, how to use, and where I was being involved with churches and synagogues, they just stopped dead. And it was literally they didn't know what to do. And what you're actually seeing is that the people involved, the ministers, the rabbis, they either can pivot to do this or they can't. And some of the guys that really could in the past, who could work in a room, have found that they couldn't actually work online. And so we've been helping a number of those to actually re-engage and reconnect with their communities. That's on the one side. On the other side that we had is that we're suddenly, because we've been doing this for a long time, it's can you help us out? My partners have got backgrounds in doing live shows and involved in theatre. And so we're literally run off our feet with people who are going, we need to bring our business online. And that has worked out really, really well. But I think there's a comment that's come from others. It's doing it professionally. And the word that we hate is Zoom. Because when you see Zoom, when you see stuff that goes out on Zoom, it's so poor. It's so poor, and it has no brand values. and they really don't like it.
So what's your real opinion on that, Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit on the fence on Zoom at the moment. And they're trying to play catch up. It's very interesting. It's the best product out there for a meeting. It's absolutely a killer product for a meeting and for keeping your family in contact. But when you're trying to do something like this, it just falls apart. It falls apart.
You talk about
Google Meet at all for like business meetings? Because Google Meet's been doing pretty well too. I've been testing both of them.
It's interesting because they went through a period over here of just because they dropped everything for a while and just dropped it at the wrong time. I mean, let's be blunt. The reason Zoom worked so well is they had no security. It was like when the lockdown hit, you didn't have to have any security to get into a Zoom meeting, so everybody could get in, and that was their killer thing. Everybody else was trying to, we were all trying to remember what our Skype handle was. It's like, no, can't remember. Forget it. Don't want to know.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about businesses that pivot. There's in churches and religion and politics. Those are two huge areas. Musicians, I found also only a very few of them are really doing well as far as quality. I know of one that my wife and I actually put aside 5 o'clock every Friday night for one of our favorite smooth jazz artists, Brian Culbertson. This guy, I had no idea what a geek he was in a great way, tech geek. And he's actually using OBS, which many of you are, I'm sure, are familiar with. I've used it the best as well. And he's using the Stream Deck interface that I use as well. And this guy has got it down. He's got multiple microphones, probably 5 camera angles. He's got sponsorship. He started a new membership site, and he's got over, what was it? It was over 3,000 people watching live every show. It's amazing. The guy's crushing it, I hope. And I just love to see this, ingenuity that people have when times like this come. It's like you either come up with a solution or you die financially.
I think you've hit it. You've hit the nail on the head. People who were the top of their game suddenly have been toppled over by people who just came out of nowhere, who can do things that they just didn't realize they can do. And that's always the advantage in some of these times. It's can you pivot? Can you do this? Can you learn a new trick, or do you sit there and wither and die?
Another artist that's doing really well with the live streaming and the broadcasting is Sammy Hagar and The Circle. They've been doing some amazing stuff, and it's like all of his bands are at their home in their little back rooms doing their recording and stuff, and then they mix it all together. It's just brilliant. It's just beautiful. It's pretty powerful when they do stuff like that.
I could have swore you said all in their bathrooms. I was like,
actually, one guy does play in his bathroom. He plays in a fairly large bathroom, but because he has all his clothes that are sound deadening for him.
I was about to say it might have good acoustics.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'd have to have his papers walled like Pepe there, just covered. Yeah. So hey, one of the things I've noticed also for people like us that do live streams on a regular basis, that have shows like this, the key is to getting viewership and getting engagement and whether it's live, whether it's after the show, and when we repurpose it to recorded platforms like YouTube, these go there automatically, but now you need to pull them over so people can see them. But for you, and I'll do the same thing, is just by show of hands, one of the keys to any business is marketing, and it's the lifeblood. Without marketing, you cannot succeed. Successful marketing, I should say. So for whoever wants to go first, what have you found thus far for live video specifically to be your number one go-to when it comes to marketing a live show?
Number one.
Yeah. So I'll talk real quickly about that. So one of the things I found the most beneficial for getting views is, and Brian knows this as well, scheduling. Yeah. When you schedule your broadcast, Google will if you're scheduling a YouTube, Google will actually help you get viewers for it. Same thing with Facebook. If you're scheduling it, Facebook will help you find viewers for it. So I know personally from those two, but I'm sure if you're scheduling it and you have a regular schedule, if you're a gamer kind of like that and you're doing Twitch, and I know Brian broadcasts to Twitch as well, but if you're a gamer, you're doing Twitch, you're going to get more organic traffic from just because you scheduled it. Of course, Brian knows from me, I mean, if you have a list, making sure to remind your list constantly that you're going live, when you're going live, what time you're going live. And then, of course, I also do a lot of texting, as Brian does as well, texting last minute. Hey, we're going to text out. We're going to go live. We're going to go live. So to drive viewers, for the average person, organic, just schedule. Make sure you're scheduling and letting your people know you're scheduled.
But I'll take it even further. Make sure that you say to people to click on the subscribe when they're watching. Yeah. Click on the subscribe or click on the like in Facebook. If they click on subscribe in YouTube and then they tick on it, and if you explain to them, tick on it, open it up and click on the little bell and make it say all, that is a killer. You will double the number of people who are watching if you can get them to do that. They do the like, and you get them liking any of your videos. Open up on Facebook and then say, invite them to like your channel, like your page. Make sure you're actually going to a page and not to your own profile. It makes a huge difference, because then people can share your video. Otherwise, people can't share your videos. Right. That makes a big difference, and you build big audiences up.
You go, Janine.
Oh, I was going to say, I would add to that, as far as with all of that, it's not just the scheduling, but schedule consistently. People get used to when they're going to see you and meet up with you, and then that starts becoming a part of their routine too.
Yeah, that's correct. And I was going to say too, if it's all the kind of graphics you're going to use too, like the thumbnail, even your title, it needs to be really good. You need to be just check what's trending and all of that, and try to use that words and hashtags and all of that. So that's helped a lot too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that is that we like to use our guests. So the guests that come on the show or some of our client show, we talk to them about, hey, everyone's got a fan club. Everyone's got friends and family. Make sure they know that this is coming on tonight. Make sure you tell them. Make sure they subscribe. So really pushing it with the people that are actually providing the content. We find that really does drive up the numbers.
If you can make that as easy as possible. I mean, it just, even reminding them to say that, if you can give them the one sentence reminder that they just have to cut and paste, that makes it more likely that they'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually built into an automated system of mine, and you were last minute guest, and you probably saw it might have said expedited somewhere, but a guest that comes on that's planned well in advance, because this takes time. Everything we're talking about as far as having, leveraging your guests, that's genius. I mean, that's what I think is one of the best ways to do it, is to get higher and higher influencer type guests. And as you do, get them or their assistants to put the word out. And through automation, if possible, because then you don't have to work in the business. You can start stepping away. And when the show's over, have it go out a day later and say, hey, okay, now it's recorded. Go please share it. Go like it. Have your assistant do it, whatever. But also leading up to it, let's get live viewership. This isn't just about me. This is about you. In fact, my shows are about all of you and my guests. And that's a perfect segue, because I wanted to find out from all of you what has been most effective for you. Do you, or just what do you do? So there's the types where it's a solo. You're just a talking head. I shouldn't say just a talking head, but it's just you. And some are very, very effective at doing that. There are interview style, where it's one-on-one. And then, like, this is a panel. This is an interview style. What do you folks all do? Do you do one, the other, or both? Do you mix them up? And what have you found to be the most effective? What has gotten you the most engagement? Engagement. Show of hands. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first this time.
Right.
Yeah. I'm my business partner, Amelie Schaefer. She's another veteran, and we both love doing the consulting and systems work. We do it together, and that way we have that conversation. So it's not just the talking head, and we don't always have someone to interview. And I think that just makes it more fun, and it flows better, and it's natural. So that's what we go with.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if I take that a little bit further from what you're saying there, when I have the discussion with people, that one of the reasons why a lot want to use Zoom is they feel that they're going to get that connection. And then you sit there and you say to them, but hold on a minute, you can go to the theater. When you go to the theater, there's only 10 people on the stage. You don't have to have every single person on the stage, which is what you're ending up in Zoom. You can actually create that experience. I always think that communication and the link between seeing other people on the stage, it works best. I think that works much better than a single talking head. When you have that conversation, when you can see the two people talking, interacting, I always think that's best. And we're finding less and less that we're actually spotlighting an individual person, and we're bringing that because people want to see that interactivity. Coming back to somebody said it earlier, you know, we may all be socially distanced or all those horrible words, but we're still very social and we want to see other people.
And we are maskless at the moment. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, well, we have masks. We all have masks. We buy them at Costco.
Hey, Jason Anderson is loving it. Jason is a former guest on this show as well. He was a phenomenal guest listening in from LinkedIn. Thanks you, Jason. If you have any questions, shoot them out. We got plenty, but I'm interested in what everyone who's watching and viewing would like to find out from these amazing experts. I mean, we've got what a mix. This is phenomenal. I mean, sheesh, a former attorney or maybe even still current attorney.
A recovering attorney.
And a two-time enlistee, one in two different branches of our service. That's Janine. Thank you for your service. You know, a media mogul, Jason, who's done everything and you could possibly do on this planet when it comes to marketing. And my dear,
how can you do that with the age I am? I don't know how that works.
Yes. So here's one thing I'm really curious about. So if part of your model is to have guests on your show, would you raise your hand real quick?
Yeah.
An interview? Okay. Was that Janine? I can't see your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. So all of you, good. So what I want to find out is what has been your biggest challenge so far? Like there are different examples because look, we're talking about pre-show, we're talking about execution during show, and we're talking about post-show production. And each phase comes with it its own set of challenges. So for you, again, by show of hands, who wants to go first? But examples like, is it finding a new guest to come on in a timely manner? Is it, or getting enough of them queued up? Is it finding high quality guests on top of that? How about, is it coming up with the questions beforehand? You know, what do you ask each person? Having guests show up prepared, you know, their lighting ready, their clothes on, hopefully, makeup. If it's even a guy, I put makeup on today. I do it almost every show now because I'm getting old. And, or is it something maybe like coming up with new topics for your show? Or is it something completely different? I'm very curious about this. Go ahead.
I'll go. So Amelie and I actually started with a podcast before we went over to live streaming. And the way we launched it was we recorded a batch of interviews. So we'd have a number of episodes before we put it out there. But we recorded the video with the intent to use it. And I have to say, it's funny with guests. So we were just starting out, and this speaks to, it's like we were, you know, as you were saying, it's like as you grow and your audience grows, you reach to guests that have bigger audiences that are, you know, have the content that you know your audience wants. So this was actually, I had a cancellation, a last minute guest that a friend had hooked me up with. And, you know, in that prep time, it's like, okay, I thought he wasn't going to show. He showed up all of a sudden. It's like, okay, we'll do this really fast. Are you ready to go? I give him a little intro. Here's how it's going to go. And he's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And then he takes this big swig of tequila. Okay, and so I have to say I was a little gun shy about doing live interviews for a while after that.
Show prep.
Yeah. So it can be fun, but yeah.
Yes.
So the biggest problem I have to deal with politicians. So I've done most of the leading politicians in the UK at one time or another on some shows. You sit there and you say to them about the tech, and you want to explain to them you need to wear headphones. This is the biggest argument I have always. And I had one said, do you know I control the House of Lords, which is our senior house. I don't need to wear headphones. And I'm like, but the reason nobody can actually hear you is because your mic is actually deafening everything you say, because it's just coming straight out of your speakers. And eventually, when he actually stopped and listened, he said, oh, yeah, you're right. I apologize. That tech every single time. We have like a rundown with our guys. So we will say we have to go through headphones. We always do a green room test before. We do rundown. We talk about headphones. These are Bluetooth ones, which are really cheap. The MEE ones, they're great. If you're looking for headphones and you don't want to spend a lot of money, they're the MEE audios. They're on eBay or Amazon. They're really great, and these are the Bluetooth ones. We do that. The other thing we always say to everybody, and they laugh when we say it, is before we go live, could you clean your camera with a cloth? Particularly people who've got laptops, because you just do not realize how much grease is on that laptop.
Great.
And it's like you clean it, and it's like, oh my god, that's taken 10 years off you. It's like it's a magic trick. It's a magic trick. Always worth doing.
You are making me laugh because I'd have to agree with you, Leo. The tech is probably the most painful part. Writing the question, sure, but the tech, I mean, that'll keep me up at night. So we do equipment checks with everyone, and we talk about headphones. And I'm amazed, and we have a checklist, and I'm amazed at every time. There's always something new to add to the checklist that I haven't anticipated. We had a client record, and all of a sudden everything went black. So I was like, oh, I guess her internet went out, and then I get a text from her that said, no, I forgot to plug in my computer and the battery died. So that's now on the checklist, like make sure your computer's plugged in. We talk about Ethernet and all this other stuff. And I'm like, now make sure you also have electricity going to your laptop. So I'm always amazed.
we had one
growing.
We had one with the checklist. You're absolutely right. We're sitting there, and it's like it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's like this is terrible. And they go, oh, my battery's at 8%. It's like you've run this without your laptop not plugged in. It's like, yeah, but it's got long battery. It's like no, it doesn't when you're streaming. It doesn't when you're streaming, and it just. I'm sure we will come across more of this, but it's just sometimes you're just sitting there with your head in your hands going, oh, it's just horrible. And it's the pros as well that you must, I mean, so we have a guy, nobody's going to be watching this at all, no. We have a guy called...
everybo's going to be watching.
Judge Rob Rinder. Judge Rob Rinder. He's our equivalent of your Judge Judy. So he's a really outspoken. Every time it's like we go live, it's like you're in the wrong end of your house again, aren't you? Way away from your wireless. It's like, could you please pick up your laptop and go to the bit where it works? And it's like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure there are many.
When the bulb going out on the overhead projector was your biggest tech nightmare.
Oh yeah. You had a spare one.
Oh my God, what do I do? It's totally changed.
Well, I just want to say one thing, Brian. Your checklist is perfect. I control a lot of different live streaming from a lot of people, and I always tell them to do something like that and say, oh no, we don't need that. I say, my God, when I received yours, I was like, oh yes.
It's really good.
Doing
really
this.
Good.
This is so simple. It's so necessary. Like people don't do it, and it's why not? You need to be like prepare everything before your live stream. So it's I'm really glad you're doing that. That was awesome for me, man. Thank you.
And I just found out that I need to add 2 more. Wipe off your camera. Like you guys said, you're continually updating, and I'm doing it all the time.
Keep adding to the checklist.
Yeah, wow. I tell you, cleaning the camera is the fun. Is the one that everybody laughs, and they're going to be doing this for 6 months, and you go, yeah, could you clean your camera? And then they go, oh, that's that. It's amazing the difference it makes.
It's taking me
perspective. I started going live about 9 years ago, 1911.
Yeah.
19. What does that make it? 1991? No, 2001 or so. Yeah, right around there.
That's 12 years. Yeah.
Wait, 12 years. My math.
No, it's 20. That's going to be 20 years next year.
Yeah, too long.
Wow.
9 years ago. So that'd be 2011, right? There we go. Finally. And gosh, I used to be really good at math. Anyway, so back in that day, we didn't have what we have today with all of the autoresponder, glitz and glamour, and all the automations that we can do now with the incredible tools that are available. And I would literally set up and schedule what I called a tech test the day prior to the actual show. And then I told them, are you going to be in this same location tomorrow? Oh, no, I'm flying to. I'm like, oh, God, that ain't going to work. We got to tell me where you're going to be.
Have we got stories of that?
Oh, yeah.
So that is what caused that checklist that I came up with to be born, because I said, no more, I'm done. You either do it and you tell me you've done it. You all did that. Thank you very much. By just responding, and the automation told me, I was like, oh, good, they're ready. And I knew all of you would be, because we're all in this game together. But, you never know, do you?
top of our checklist now is you are going to do the tech test on the equipment you're actually going live on. It's like, we sat there a couple of weeks ago doing a tech test, and this is our Home Secretary, so Secretary of State, equivalent of Secretary of State, and we get one of her assistants doing the test, and we're sitting there doing the test, and it's like nothing of this is working, and it's like, is this going to be the computer? Oh no, I'm in GCHQ. That's the equivalent of being in the Pentagon. It's like, there's no way any computer in there is ever going to work.
Right.
And is this where she's going to be doing it? No,
Firewall.
she's going to be doing it at home on her own PC. And you're like, there's half an hour of my life I'm not getting back.
I can so relate. You guys are phenomenal. Oh my goodness, this is fun. How many of you have help for your shows? Do you have like a virtual assistant or just an assistant? Do you have someone that clicks the buttons for you to do the scene switching, to bring up the comments and things like that? Or are you all solo when you go with this yourselves? So who wants to go first? And there's no wrong answer.
Army one.
I'm just me too. I'm just me, and I have an 18 mini, so I do everything, comments and all of that.
Cool.
If we have two of us going, so we have the one more than an army of one, and we have an assistant with the multi-purposing the content after the fact.
So we go on StreamYard on a big event. On most of our events, where there's three of us, we do three.
And what are the roles of three?
We have one person sitting there mainly doing the production, bringing in the comments coming in from social media. One doing the camera switching, and one doing the video rolls and other things that come in, and just doing the various different parts.
So
Sorry, go on.
well, do you have three people logged in as an admin of StreamYard at the
All
same time?
three people in as an admin of StreamYard, and then we use Discord as our communication channel behind.
Nice.
So if any of you haven't used Discord or come across it, it solves everything. Basically, then you can deafen one ear so you can listen to the live in one ear, and you can have Discord talking in the other. I don't ever want to publish live what we talk about on Discord sometimes.
Fully imagine.
You're just sitting there going, are they gonna, and now I'm doing it. It's like, so well done to you, Brian, for running this on your own. You're doing great.
Yeah, I can imagine the back talk over there. Effing Zoom. God,
It's just sometimes you're just like, you're just, it's hard work, isn't it? It's hard work, especially when you've got a deadline.
Ro, what are you guys doing? Do you have a team?
Yeah, so I have a team. So I have a show that I have a co-host, and we switch back and forth as to who's going to produce it, do the directing behind it. We find that if one of us does it for several weeks in a row, then the other one, the skills kind of soften. You've got to keep up with it. So we switch back and forth. For our clients, there's usually two of us always on, so that we, as admins, so we can jump in, and we usually just keep our phones open, but I'm going to use Discord now, so that we can handle what's coming, whether it's, the comments or, the different assets that they want played during the show.
Well, God bless you, because I used to co-host as well, and it's not easy to do it with two people. No matter how synergistic the two of you are, it is difficult. Have two people switching off, asking questions, whatever, engaging. And then I did that for a couple of years, and then now I'm doing it solo, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot easier. Isn't that interesting? By myself, it's easier. That was my own experience. It doesn't mean it's everyone's experience, of course, but it was, and nothing personal about any person. It's just, that's the way it was. It's easier to go on my own and not have a co-host. That's where that point is. If I have somebody helping with the scene switching, the comment, taking care of those, that would be phenomenal. Leo, I'm very, very jealous right now. Pepe, it looked like you had something to say there a moment ago.
No, I'm okay. Thank you, man.
All right. Well, that was your chance. That's it. That was your last chance. No more. All right. We have Don Hopperich from here in local Antelope Valley. He's an amazing, amazing businessman. He's always got local businesses backs. So thank you, Don, for coming on. Check him out on Facebook for sure. we actually have a question from the audience. This is a good question. Donald Allen of LinkedIn or on LinkedIn asks, what are the pros and cons of podcasting versus live streaming? Now, I want to quantify or qualify this a little bit. I have heard countless number of people saying, Brian, I want to be on your podcast. And I just want to go, it is not a podcast. It's a live video stream. Podcast is audio only. There is a distinct and huge difference. So that being said, I got off my soapbox. Who wants to handle and tackle that one? I love Leo's laughing right there. That's awesome. Bro.
Right.
I'll jump in with this one. I think the real advantage with live streaming like this, and we do this for a number of our clients, is that you have the video asset. You know, you can put it on YouTube, which is the second largest search engine. I mean, you can really drive traffic to your website or to you with YouTube. I think the video really has some tremendous impact. And then from this, we usually take the audio and then turn that into a podcast. So we're hitting people in different ways with different formats. So I you know, maybe it's back to my television roots, but I'm like, I'd go with video every time. That's, to me, is the pro.
Pepe.
Yeah, I totally agree with Ro, but I want to put one point here that's really important, like Brazil and all the Latin countries, we have a really bad bandwidth with internet and all of that. So podcast right now is really huge over there because, you know, like with less bandwidth, you can listen and, you know, on your phone and whatever, you know, video take more bandwidth. So it's a little harder to people to see it. And sometimes people are driving or just like in a bus, you know, things like that. So podcast is getting really big, not only in Brazil, but all the Latin countries.
Yeah, I would just add to that. They're just different audiences are in different channels. So, you know, the podcast audience is different than the people who are watching videos. But as far as the channels themselves, their algorithms are favoring live stream the most. So that's where, if you had to choose between one, that's where I would go.
Yep.
And I'll just say that it really for David, I think Allen, Don Allen, I can't remember his name, but what I would say is it's not an either or situation. I'll echo what everybody else has already said. It's really a both situation. Go live, do a live stream video, and then, like Rose said, break it down into an audio and broadcast it as a podcast only. And one of the things you can do, which is really nice, I think actually Brian's doing this because he is now a top 200 podcaster on Apple. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So one of the things you do is you schedule your live video broadcast on one day, and then you schedule your podcast the next day after you've had time to read the audio out and send it out. So that way your podcast people get used to listening to it a day later. And it's not an either or situation. It really is a both situation.
Yeah.
And on that, it's actually now over a week. It's actually 3 weeks out before the podcast goes. I've hired a podcast marketing firm. And here's the thing. Podcasts are huge. And I didn't know it. To me, a podcast is the same, or I liken it to a rotary dial phone podcasting. It is old technology. It's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And a little over a year ago, one of my guests that came on the show after we were done, he says, "Hey, Brian, are you repurposing this to podcasts?" I was like, why would I do that? You know, I didn't say it that way, but I was thinking that. And he goes, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" He goes,
"Yeah,
it's absolutely helping me to crush it in my business." I said, "Serious?" He goes, "Yeah." So you know what? Immediately I restructured my show. This is very key if you're doing a live show, if you want to repurpose. That's why I don't actually call out please like and love and all that stuff and share. I put that in the lower thirds if I want to do that, so it's not audible, and structure it such that when I'm done with this show, I'm going to edit it. It's going to take me, you'll fall out of your chair, 5 minutes to edit it, and it'll be ready for a podcast because I've structured it so that I can do that beginning, middle, and end and everything in between. And now I've hired a podcast marketing firm. That's how I got top ranked. So I'm hitting that avenue, complete separate than video, but it's repurposing everything I've already done. I'll have to do it once. I like to call live video the genesis point of all marketing. You cannot take an audio and repurpose it into a video, not a real one. And then you can't take that that video and repurpose it into a live video. And I'm not talking watch party, just for those of you that are going to say that. You cannot do it. You will not get the live interaction, the live feel. But the live video, you can take and then repurpose it all the way down the chain, have it transcribed, make ebooks out of it, books, do so many wonderful things with it. So live video, you can tell where I'm coming from, what my fave is, and where I would suggest people go. That being said, much bigger undertaking than doing just a podcast because of everything we've been talking about tonight. But I, as a business owner, would tackle it headlong and put everything I had into doing the live video, get good at it, take time, and then repurpose the heck out of it. Go ahead, Jason.
So I'll just say that one thing, though, is that I think it's still audio in an audible way. You do need to say subscribe and share. Because and notify even if you're not saying like and comment, say subscribe and share, because on audio, video, whatever, if you're on Apple or I do my podcast, believe it or not, through Google Podcasts. So if you're doing that and you just say subscribe and share, don't forget to subscribe and share. That's a good thing. I also I study Russell Brunson's work, and he always on his podcast always says subscribe, share, and take a screenshot and tag me in it. And then that way, it really does broaden that horizon more too. So it's a good way to do it. And you can do that whether it's a video, an audio, YouTube, whatever. It's a good way to just get that, again, helping your listener promote you.
Yeah, and there's other ways around that, so you don't have to do it live. And this is a strategy I've learned, and that is have it recorded. What you want them to do, like, hey, check us out on this pod, or, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast, give us a 5-star rating and review it. And you can make that a pre-recorded soundbite, and you just drop that in when you're editing, and it's still 5 minutes of editing. Or, I've been coached to do it live more than recorded. I have not yet started doing that. We're not to that stage yet, but these are fantastic tips to help you to keep with your structure and keep your current audience, but still add more value, the value you want, and get the viewership and listenership that you want through a podcast after the fact.
Yeah.
Also, the studies show that podcast people don't necessarily follow video logs. They're two different audiences. So you're really broadening your target. You're saying niche, but broadening your audience by doing both.
I think you've actually hit a very good points here, because we're also seeing an evolution of things going around in a circle. A good example of this is I'm a big fan of, we all remember The West Wing and the West Wing Weekly podcast, which finished in January this year, where they went through every single episode of The West Wing. And that has spawned, which you may be aware, HBO have got a program. They're bringing one episode back next week, I think it is. And that's all come out back because of the success and the growth of the podcast.
Wow.
At bringing the audience back to a program that was way back. So it's interesting how these things come around in a circle.
Yeah,
I've actually seen that with a couple of other programs they're starting to bring back by doing podcasts on them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even that, like YouTube, I have like my premium membership from YouTube, and one of the things that I really love about YouTube, you can, like, with the premium, you just can play the video and change whatever app, or even you're driving, and the audio continues. So it's a kind of podcast.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Gal, that this will be fun. And it just came in by the same gentleman. He said, thanks. And here's another one. What do you say to a person who's interested in starting a live streaming show, but thinks that they are boring? What do you say to that person?
You can answer that question. Oh,
I can answer that because I'm the most boring person here. But in all seriousness, it's you have something to say and you should say it. As far as like from a business point of view, I work with operations and systems, which is one of the least sexy, nobody wants to hear about it thing, and they don't use those words when they're having problems in their business. So live streaming helped me get out there and tell the stories about what that actually looks like as a business owner. So I just shared stories, same kind of thing. We met up over coffee.
I can imagine with you, Janine, interjecting your military stories. I would be so riveted. I'm not kidding. Yeah. I mean, those are so interesting to me. I've heard many. I'm an Air Force kid. My dad went through the Air Force before I was alive. He was done and working at NASA, but he still did it. And so I can imagine the stories. I love them. Military stories are the best, whether it's combat or not. Just the hijinks, I hear it.
There's
It's,
a lot of
and then for the gentleman, I would say bring on guests. You know, it doesn't have to be about you, and not every guest is going to be interesting. That's just the flat, honest truth. Depends on how you filter them, how you bring them onto your show. I've got a strategy that's working for me. It got me Les Brown on this very show. Les Brown, the one and only, through a strategy I've been using. It took 2 years. It takes time. But as you grow, and here's the thing, if you think you're boring, then just start doing live video. You'll become unboring quick because you'll become more outgoing, I think. That's my personal opinion.
So I have one that's really good for you. This is the master, the absolute de facto master of marketing, Jay Abrams. Jay Abrams is literally the most boring speaker in the planet. But if you have quality content, if you have good information, people will pay attention. So really, it's really, Donald, it's really about your content. If you've got something to say, it's interesting, it's compelling, you'll find your audience and they will listen and they will respond to you. Because I've heard Jay speak several times and it's rough, but you're riveted the whole time. You're like, oh my God, he's going to drop a nugget any second now. So,
and we all know Donald wasn't speaking of himself. He was thinking of someone else. So,
Donald's really dynamic. He's a super cool guy. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Donald. I appreciate the questions there. How important? We're at the 1 hour mark. Are you guys good to go a little bit longer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I've only got to go to bed sometime.
Yeah, I mean,
no, you don't have to go to bed. You're about time to get up anyway.
Yeah.
It's 2:30 in the morning. It's 2:30 in the morning, but it's all right. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good.
Quit your whining and get another cup of coffee. Let's go.
It's all right. It's fine. I get it by the kilo. The coffee by the kilo from Starbucks.
So. There you go. Get after it. There you go.
Well, let us know if you need that restroom break. We'll take a pause.
I'm fine. We'll go. Keep going. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying this, Brian. I'm really enjoying it.
I appreciate you all so much. All kidding aside, this has been one of my favorite shows. I kid you not. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like I said, goosebumps under this jacket. How important to each of you? So how many times have we seen someone say, I'm going to do a live, and they go walking around with their phone and the wind's blowing and their hands shaking and they think they're doing something professional and they're interviewing somebody. I'm like, what are you doing? For you, all of you, how important would you say to those that are listening, how important is the quality of the camera feed, the quality of the graphics, the quality of the studio you're using, the audio quality? Just how high do you place that in importance when it comes to doing your live video shows?
Well, I can go first today and this one. And I think that's the point, to make you unique, because right now everybody's doing live stream. So how are you going to be like different? How are you going to differentiate yourself, your live stream from others? And that's one. For sure, your content is really important. But if you can deliver that content with a lot of quality, I'm not saying only with the camera, but audio, with graphics and all of that, you're gonna be in another level. So that's I think is really, really important too.
Who else?
I think it came around in a circle. So at the beginning of all of this, when everybody else started joining in, the mantra that I was using, it's connection, not perfection. Which isn't one I came up with. I stole it. Anything that's good, you can steal. I can't remember where I stole it from, which is but that was really important. Now to me, it's moving up that scale. Exactly, this camera, this is a stills camera, and yes, it sets you back about $500-600, but the difference in quality is just chalk and cheese to a Logitech.
It's amazing.
And I mean, I've got a Logitech Brio sitting underneath it, which I never use, but its quality is, you don't have to do every single bit first. And Rosanna probably knows this from her TV days. You don't go out and put a big sound stage together straight away. You put it together bit by bit by bit.
Yes.
And that's all you do. And mine has just changed and evolved. And I think it's really important.
Yeah, you have to make progress and get better. I'd say content first and then the tech. But the tech has got to be spot on, and you don't have to take it all at once. So, first get yourself a good microphone, then get yourself a camera, or vice versa. Do one at a time, but you've got to improve them and then do the professional branding. I mean, this looks beautiful, Brian, the way you have this here with the overlays and our names and all of it. So, every week improve, small progress is still progress.
And there's inexpensive ways to get started with quality too. It's not like you have to dump $10,000 into a studio. You can put Pepe, he talks about studio equipment, things like that, how to get started. Those are key elements. You do need a certain level of quality, because the guy walking down the street with his phone who got too far away from his house while he was on Wi-Fi, like that stuff makes me crazy. But there's a minimum level of quality people need to hit to really do a professional broadcast.
Yeah, and don't wear a mask when you do it. All right, so
that's exactly it. It's absolutely true. I mean, the thing that's the real killer at the moment, I think, is these HDMI connectors. They came out, and these are the ones that you just get from Amazon and eBay, and they're only about $15.
Yeah.
And you can take any stills camera that you've got sitting in the cupboard that's been sitting there for the last 2 years gathering dust, and plug in with an HDMI cable, and you've got the camera.
Is that to USB?
Sorry, to USB?
Is it HDMI?
They're about HDMI to USB. They're $15. That's all they are.
And you can even use your phone. If you have like a clean HDMI out from your phone, like an iPhone or something like that, you can use that one too.
But I think it's also, and I think critical thing, listen to your own recording, because the one thing that people don't hear is what they sound like. They say, "Oh, I sounded great," and you go, "No." Apple iPod, what they called iBud, the Apple one, they are awful in streaming. They are the worst microphone for streaming. They just don't work anywhere near. And people think, "Oh, but I sounded great," and it's like, you heard yourself, but you don't listen to the recording, and they'll hear it, and it's a big difference.
Yes, and Don agrees about live streaming. He's been doing live for 6 months. Very unique, because I'm only looking for a very local audience, 50-mile radius, just giving things away. I've seen these, Don. They're amazing. To promote local businesses, and it's unbelievable how successful it has been as a marketing tool for our local chamber. And he's the president of a local chamber of commerce here in Lancaster area. So
I think I've actually seen some of his stuff as well, even though it's out there.
Look at that, Don. You're worldwide, buddy. Good job bringing Lancaster on the map.
I think that's a super important point, especially for local businesses with quarantine and everything else going on. Excuse me. It's like I can share a story of a gentleman he was a plumber in a small town and started doing Facebook Lives every day, and it brought him more business. And then he was turning away business. Then he was hiring more people, and he finally because he had an audience, he got Home Depot's attention and became their preferred provider. So it was all because of Facebook Lives for a plumber in a small town. It works.
It works.
Yeah, what Don has come up with is so simple and so genius. It's he's getting local businesses to basically supply prizes, to give things away. And when he goes live, he's giving them massive shout outs. So they're getting advertising, and people are loving them because they're giving away free stuff. So it's now they're associating this company with a good group of people because they're giving away great stuff. And everyone wins. Don's chamber keeps thriving. The businesses keep thriving, and the people love the businesses that are giving away the good stuff. So they're winning prizes and having fun too. So it's like a win-win-win situation. I love the entrepreneurial spirit. And times like these hit. That's when the really bright lights start shining. I love it. I love it. Yeah. That means all of you that are right now. Just want to make that very clear. All right, let's do one more and then wrap it up. I want to go another couple hours, but I know Leo's going to drop right in.
I'm all right. I'm fine. Don't stop for me.
We kind of touched on it a little earlier. The bottom line to anything in entrepreneurship and business is, what is the outcome? Why start a live stream if there's no way to monetize it ultimately? to actually bring money in as a result? Does it have to be direct result of the live stream? I don't know. That's why I'm going to ask all of you. What strategy have you come up with for those of you who have done it, where you are the result of your live stream is actually monetizing your business, whether directly or indirectly? I'd like to know if you've done it directly, especially, and also indirectly, in what ways are you monetizing as a result of doing live streams?
I'll go ahead first. I think the most basic and the easiest that people see is through sponsorship. So you can have someone sponsor either an episode or your entire show. And I think that that's probably the most obvious that people can see as a way to monetize it. But I see it as a wonderful way through your guests, the power of your content. Your network is your net worth. So by strategically inviting certain people on your show, you expand your network, and that can bring lots of ROI to your business that maybe cannot be quantified that day on that episode, but you can quantify it later on.
That's both guests that have the audience of the people you're trying to reach. And there's also guests who really are the type of client you have. You're not going to sell them while you're, having an interview with them. But in your pre-live or afterwards, just in interacting with them, that's when well, who else do you think might be interested? Literally it opens the door to have that conversation with them. And they're so happy to be invited to be on your platform. It's really a win-win.
I think Brian's experienced that on both levels. He's not only found a great mentor with his podcast guy, but he also has found people who take part in his services, which is the Carpet Pound Marketing Program. I think that's phenomenal. And I do most of my monetization on is actually not on the live stream. It's really I basically provide a ton of value, just give stuff away. And I do it live and I give it away. And then I make the videos private and I put them in a membership site. So if you want to watch it live, this actually kind of came from a previous model from Brian when he was doing a live broadcast. And if you wanted to watch it at your leisure, you had to subscribe. So but I do that. And it's not necessarily driving traffic to my website, my membership site. It's more or less just kind of a branding strategy where people then reach out to me and go, hey, I saw you doing this, this, and this. Can you help me with that? And I've gotten clients from that just by putting content out there for free. And then they reach out to me and go, hey, can you help me with my problem?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I always think there's a long game. The short game is what you can actually do in creating those connections. But once you show that you're an authority on something, when somebody remembers they need it and they remember that you reached out and you gave them that window, that's when it pays back. So if you're trying to do it over a short game, it's not going to work. I just don't think it works. But I think over a long game, and you made that connection and you made that point. My real business, which is in the sports environment, we've always reached out and helped. And when you reach out and help, you know that when they need somebody or they decide, do you know what, we want a new website, and they remember who helped them out, and you don't always win it, that's life, but sometimes you do. And when you do, it pays back in dividends. And that's why I've always done it that way.
Yeah. Well, for me, I have a different kind of way because I have my YouTube channel, and I never thought myself as a YouTuber. So I have my YouTube channel since 2007, and I had 8,000 people only on my channel. So since this pandemic thing started, I was just doing reviews about equipment, cameras, and things like that. And then I started talking about live streaming because I was live streaming. I'm a kind of YouTube. So, and then I started talking about StreamYard and some softwares that Wirecast and Vimix. When I saw it, I have 2,000 more people in my channel, and I was like, what's happening? And why? Because I was talking about live streaming. Live streaming was getting so huge. So I think we need to see the market too and watch out. Hey, where people are taking us. And right now, I would say my channel took me to being somebody that knows a lot about live streaming, because live streaming for me was always part of my job, part of being a tech, you know. And now, like I'm like I said, a specialist. Kind of crazy to say, but yes,
Yep.
in these days, we need to have someone that knows, that's really tech savvy, you know, like in live streaming, knows about bit rate, understand about the flow of the signal. And we didn't talk about this, but a lot of people using HDMI and bring the audio from another source, and they have problem with sync, and they don't know why, and all of that. People think that everything is so easy, just connect it and it's gonna work, and that's not true. So it's really nice to see. I know pandemic was really bad, but I'm saying it's so crazy to see what we can do, you know, and achieve and create. So it's crazy.
You know, it's not like Field of Dreams where you just go live and they will come.
Build it and they come. Yeah. Build it and they will come.
So Pepe, do you now?
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that for the whole of this call. I knew that was coming sometime.
Do you monetize your YouTube channel now? I mean, that's another revenue stream too. I've not gotten there yet. I'm actually building.
Yes, that's funny. Yes, I do. But because my channel, my email and everything is in Brazil, I don't get the money. You know, it's gonna stay there in account, so I cannot do it. That's why I'm building another channel now in English, and I'm trying to do different things. You know, because the thing is, right now the dollar in Brazil is 5 to 1. So imagine if I want to sell something that is $10, it's going to be 50 reais in Brazil. So it's really hard, you know, to do something in dollars and live in dollars to sell to a Latin country. So you need to be here. If you live here, you need to like do things for like Americans and be here too. So yeah.
I see a lot of frequent flyer miles in Pepe's future.
Sorry. To do that then?
What? Sorry?
Are you building a new channel in the US based?
Yes. That's why I'm doing a new channel now. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to bring this home, and I just thought of this. It's going to be fun. So I like to end every show with a pretty powerful question. Jason, I apologize, but you've done this and you're already in. So the remaining 4 will have to tell me which one of them want to do this. Only one of you can do this. And just to close it out, I'm going to end up putting you all like in the green room, except for that one person while we do this question. Then I'll bring you all back. So we'll say our big farewells and a quick debrief and let Leo go to sleep. So it's a very intriguing question. I ask every one of my guests who's been on my show the same question. And it's been an amazing array of responses that I've gotten back. And the cool thing is it's somewhat personal. It's somewhat personal, and it's just very amazing. I don't know how else to describe it. And before we find out who's going to do this, I promised those who stayed on with us live that we were going to give you the means to enter, to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star resort. Compliments of this gentleman and the big insider secrets right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen for those of you watching live. This is how you enter to win. You want to take out that smartphone of yours and bring up your texting app. And when you do that, where you would actually type in the name of the person you're going to text, instead put in the phone number 314-665-1767. Sorry, this is United States only. Need to throw that in there because we have international guests on. 314-665-1767. And when you actually want to go type in the message to that person, like where you put your emojis and things like that, as I lose my voice, instead, type in the words peak-vacation. Peak, P-E-A-K, -vacation. And hit the little send button as I look for my throat spray. And go ahead and do that and then stay with it. You will get an automatic response in text form, and just follow the instructions so that you can be officially entered. There we go. To win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. Compliments of the big insider secrets, Mr. Jason Nass. Thank you so very much, my friend, for enabling us to have this ability to do this. All right. I think I'm recovering. So that big buildup, who wants to be the guinea pig? I mean, the person that answers the question. Here's the thing. Before I ask and before I say raise your hand, here's the thing. The answers have been so amazing. I am going to create a collaborative book with the responses, and you will be in it, whoever raises their hand. So free exposure, branding, except for the $200,000 I asked for you to donate to build a book. I'm not kidding. There might be a small amount, but Wow, a lot of people pointing at one person. Is that because that's the one person that raised her hand and no one else would, huh? Anna, are you the Stuckey? I mean, the winner?
I feel like maybe you're going to scroll sucker underneath me any second now. I feel like that's coming, but
I promise you it will be nothing anywhere close to that. You're going to love it. All of you will love it.
look, I'm fair game. Let's do it, man.
All right,
I'm in
so
it to win it. Let's do it.
Just for a moment, I'm going to put the other guests into the green room, and it'll just be you and I, and then I'll bring them back when we're done. Okay? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Gonna do it one at a time. See you all soon. Fantastic. All right. Are you ready?
I guess so.
Well, here's the thing, Rosanna. I just want you to know that this is a question, and to that you will give an answer. The good thing is there is no such thing as an incorrect answer.
Well, thank God.
It
Because
doesn't.
I feel like I volunteered to be tribute here.
In fact, the exact opposite is true. Is that the only correct answer is yours, and that's the only part that makes it personal. So
Excellent.
it's not deep personal. It's unique to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Rosanna Catalano, how do you define success?
Success. I think success comes from your gut. I think success is different for everyone, and how you define it is different for everyone. For me, it comes from my gut. There is, for me, not only a sense of peace that comes with success, but it always involves the people I love. So that is how I would define success for me.
Absolutely love it. Always love the response we get from wonderful people as yourself, such as yourself, on this very show. Thank you so very much. Let's bring back the remaining panelists who are in the background, cheering wildly, clapping, applauding. See, look at that.
You mean the people that volunteered me for this? The people
Right
that
on
appointed for me to vote, those people who I now adore.
Yes, you have the biggest fan base now in the world because of that one question. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. You've been an absolute godsend. Thank you for everyone who watched and commented and asked questions. This has been one of the funnest, I kid you not, one of the funnest shows I've ever done. You guys all stepped up to the plate. You are true entrepreneurs. You're action takers. I am so blessed to now know every one of you. I've known one of you very well for a long time. And then the other one I've known for at least 10 minutes before the start of the show, Janine. But the rest of you, I had not met yet. Leo, thank you. Thank you for coming on and hanging with us until, what is it, 3 a.m. now almost?
It's coming up on 3.
Oh, he is going, man, that bed is calling, baby. These lights are going off. Pepe, thank you for coming from all the way on the East Coast in Orlando. Rosanna, appreciate you as well from Florida as well, Tallahassee. And Janine from Houston. Jason from Goodyear, Arizona. Yes.
That's it.
I love you all. Appreciate you all. Yes.
Before you sign off, can I say one thing?
Just one.
One thing that would be really good for everybody listening tonight to know is that, getting started there's a lot to take in, but there is an expert on live streaming and automation and how to build and set up all these things actually on this panel right now. We're all kind of have our own expertise, but there's one guy who's actually put all of the pieces together. And that, of course, is, got to point that way, that guy right there, Mr. Brian Kelly. And I said to Janine when I introduced the two of them earlier, Brian's one of the most approachable guys there is. So if you have questions, if you're getting started, if you're just a newbie in this thing, really reach out to Brian. You have all the ways to access him. And I know he is super welcoming to anybody who has just even basic questions. And before I sign off for myself, I just want to thank everybody because this was great. I got to meet some really cool people tonight, make some great connections. And I love you, Brian, for pulling this all together for us like that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love you. And how do I pay you for that? PayPal?
No, send it over now.
So I actually had it ready. I wasn't planning on bringing it up, but thank you for prodding me to bring it up.
It's important. It really is, because people
Yes.
need help, and you give them great. You've gotten me so far in just a year's time on the quality and what I'm doing. So,
All right. Well, thank you all. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. Most of you, Leo, have a great morning. The rest of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
And stick on for a little bit. We'll do a quick debrief. But for everyone who watched and listened live, appreciate you for staying on to the end. On behalf of these amazing, wonderful people, I am Brian Kelly, the host of the Mind Body Business Show. We will be on again next week with another phenomenal guest. Until then, be blessed. So long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.